What is happening? It's your pal Tommy Boy, and I'm back with another edition of Reacts. And this is kind of a special episode. I've only done this one other time before, and that was with the passing of Dusty Hill from the legendary band ZZ Top. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the last one I do in the near future. I've got another one coming up pretty soon, but this one is not about neither Dusty or anything else in the future. This one is all about the legendary Betty White. America's grandmother passed away New Year's Eve 2021 at the age of 99. And when I'm planning on releasing this, it is the what would have been the 100th birthday of Betty White. So with that, I'm going to keep my jaw flapping to a minimum, and I'm going to take a look at some of the funniest bits of two of my favorite Betty White characters. That being Rose from the Golden Girls and Elka from Hot in Cleveland. So I'm going to get right into that. And outside of that, I'm going to quit flapping my gums. And here we go.
This is exactly what happened during the Great Herring War.
The Great Herring War?
Yes, between the Lindstroms and the Johanssons.
Oh, that Great Herring War.
All right, I'm going to try not to interrupt this, but I actually remember this one, and they actually left. It was originally supposed to be an outtake, but they actually left B. Arthur and Rue McClanahan completely breaking character in this clip. But I thought it's one of the funniest. I'm surprised that they actually got this one out of the way first. But yes, the Great Herring War. One of my favorite clips. Let me shut up. Let's get back to it.
The two families control the most fertile herring waters off the coast of Norway, so naturally it seemed like it would be in their best interest to band together. Oh, boy, was that a mistake. You see, they couldn't agree on what to do with the herring.
Oh, well, that's understandable. I mean, the possibilities are overwhelming.
Exactly. The Johanssons wanted to pickle the herring, and the Lindstroms wanted to train him for the circus.
Weren't they kind of hard to see riding on the elephants?
Oh, not that kind of circus. A herring circus. Sort of like SeaWorld, only smaller. Much, much smaller. But bigger than a flea circus.
Tell me, Rose, did they ever shoot a herring out of a cannon?
They're both trying to keep it together, and they're both failing.
Only once. But they shot him into a tree. After that, no other herring would do it.
You're making this up.
I am not. My grandfather told me that story. Of course, he also used to call me by my sister's name. And sometimes he'd wear his underwear on the outside of his pants. I guess he wasn't a very reliable source.
So what was this great disappointment in your life, Rose?
Butter. I wanted to be Butter Queen.
Oh, yeah. What an actress. She was so good in Gone with the Wind. I wanted to be Miss Olivia de Havilland myself.
Blanche, are you listening to this?
Bits and pieces.
Go on.
Well, Butter Queen was our town's highest honor. From the time I was born, my folks groomed me for it. Singing lessons, dancing lessons, junior butter pageants. For 16 years, my entire life revolved around butter.
You were very fortunate. So many of us wasted our youth.
When the time came for the pageant, I was incredible. I showed poise in the evening gown competition. I was brilliant in the oral butter quiz. They couldn't even trip me up with a trick margarine question. That evening, butter was spelled R-O-S-E.
Rose, you're embarrassing yourself. Please don't go on.
I have to, Dorothy. I've kept these bitter butter memories too long. As the pageant drew to its frenzied finale, there I was, alongside the other two finalists, churning my guts out. When all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, my churn jammed. Yes. And just like that, it was over. I'd lost. It was the biggest disappointment in my life. It was small consolation to find out years later there had been churn tampering involved. When I think of my father, I always picture him pulling a giant tuna up Main Street.
Well, who doesn't, Rose?
It wasn't a real tuna. It was made of chrysanthemums. It was the float in the Founders Day parade. You probably don't know this, but my hometown was founded by Heinrich von Anderdönen. The first man to ever can tuna in its own natural juices. Anyway, it was the 50th anniversary celebration of the founding of our town. My father was chosen to pull the float. He thought it was because he had the newest tractor, but actually it was because he was the only one small enough to fit into the mayonnaise jar costume. I'll never forget the moment we caught sight of him turning off a sycamore onto Elm. Something must have happened to the tractor, because there he was, this lone little mayonnaise jar, dragging this giant tuna up the hill and past the reviewing stand. I don't think I've ever been prouder in my life. Gustav Lundqvist got sick from something mysterious, and he nearly died.
I'm so
Well,
glad
he
I
did
didn't try
die,
to do
in
this
fact.
as a try not to laugh.
Then at the cemetery, Beatrice Lundqvist, his wife, kept screaming, "He's alive! He's alive! I can hear him from the grave." Well, everybody thought it was the hallucinations of a grieving widow, so they sedated her. But when she woke up from her sedation, she told them that he said from the grave, "We never paid our 78 through 86 income taxes." And his partner said only Gustav would know that he must be alive. So they all raced to the cemetery, and the entire town started digging like crazy, kneeling by the grave, using their hands even, dirt flying and Beatrice screaming. And when they opened that coffin, there he was, dead as a doornail.
What is the point of that ridiculous story, Rose?
The point is, Gustav didn't die from his mysterious disease at all. He lived and recovered. Trouble was, he recovered while he was buried, so by the time they got to him, he died of suffocation.
I just don't believe these stories you tell, Rose.
The other tragic aspect was the IRS was waiting at the cemetery to arrest Gustav's partner, Bergstrom. So Bergstrom killed himself right then and there by grabbing the gun from Sheriff Tokvist and shooting himself. What they did then was, since the grave was still open, and everybody was right there, and Gustav and Bergstrom had been partners, so they put Bergstrom in with Gustav and had a double burial. Unfortunately, later they found out that Bergstrom wanted to be cremated.
Oh, shut up, Rose.
He worked at Lars Ericsson's drugstore and tackle shop. He was a soda jerk. Now that I think about it, he was the town jerk. Every Saturday afternoon, I'd go in and have a sundae. Well, Nils would arrange the ice cream scoops in an obscene way.
By the way, if you don't happen to know what a soda jerk is, Google it. Trust me, it's not some random guy that just goes around with bottles of soda, pop, or cola, whatever the hell you happen to call it, wherever you're from, shaking it up and spraying it at people. Now, back in the day, they used to have diners and stuff, and they would have people that would specifically, work soda fountains, and they would mix up different beverages, treats and stuff like that, and they referred to those people as soda jerks. But that's enough of the history lesson. Let's get back to Rose and her wonderful stories.
I could never prove it because by the time I would take it home to show my father, the evidence had melted. To this day, every time I pass an ice cream parlor or a tackle shop, I blush. Dorothy's right. I cringe at some of the stunts I pulled when I was going through my rebellious stage.
Like what, Rose? Squeezing the cows too hard?
No. Like climbing out my bedroom window and stealing my father's truck to drive into a bar in the city to meet Clell Leitner.
Clell Lightner? I think I used that on my hair once.
Clell was the cutest boy at our high school. He was also the only sophomore old enough to get into a bar. So,
What did you do when you got there?
I sat in my father's truck for hours, paralyzed with fear. I kept thinking to myself, what is a simple Protestant farm girl doing in the parking lot of a gin mill in a flashy, fast-paced city like Tyler's Landing?
So did you get out of the truck or what?
Of course. I marched up to the door and I ran right into Reverend Mackenzie, coming out of the bar on the arm of Millie Beasley, wife of Emmett Beasley, our town's most decorated war hero. Emmett received 3 Purple Hearts, all for head wounds. He ran the feed store in our town. Of course, if the truth be known, Millie was the one who had to make change for the customers.
Rose, are you telling a story or performing our town?
Sorry. Anyway, Reverend Mackenzie made a deal with me. He said if I didn't tell on him, he wouldn't tell on me. So I went home.
Well, did he keep your secret?
Till the day he died, which was 2 days later. Emmett found Millie and the Reverend skinny dipping in the church's fountain. And he shot the both of them. A week later, we became Lutherans.
Now, he's the only one who can know when he's ready to leave. It has to be his decision.
Well, sometimes people need help making decisions. That's the way it was with Thor, our pet lamb. From the time he was first separated from his mother, he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't sleep, he wouldn't frolic with the other sheep.
You're slipping into verse, Rose. Keep it simple.
Daddy got the idea of taking this old inner tube, wrapping it in wool, and putting it next to Thor's bed at night. We named it Brunhilde. And believe it or not, it did the trick. Thor felt like he was back with his mother, and he began eating and sleeping and frolicking.
Frolicking.
Yes. But then one day, Thor got a little playful and accidentally bit Brunhilde. Poor little guy just stood there, watching his mother deflate before his very eyes. He was never the same after that. Oh, sure, once in a while he'd at the back tires of a parked car. But for the most part, he just kind of kept to himself.
I think I'm beginning to see your point.
You do?
Who cares? You want to hear the sequel?
Well, Gunilla Ulfsdotter was a nurse at Cedars of St. Olaf Hospital. One night she was taking care of Sven Bjornsson. And he asked her if she would get him some more mouth moisteners and then kill him. Gunilla brought the mouth moisteners right away, but the killing thing, it seemed to go against everything she'd been taught.
You're doing beautifully, Rose.
Well, he begged, and by her coffee break, she couldn't stand it anymore. So she pulled the plug, and he died. Well, she was racked with guilt that night. Not only had she parked her car in a doctor's spot, but she was never sure whether Sven's pleading was the pain talking or the medication talking or the guy in the next bed talking. You see, the guy in the next bed was Ingmar von Bergen, St. Olaf's meanest ventriloquist.
Rose, we are going somewhere with this, aren't we? I mean, if not, I'm going to cut out your tongue.
Yes, Sven came back to haunt Gunilla. Since then, every Tuesday night at 10, 9 Central. She hears noises. Some say it's the wind, but some say it's Sven's voice whispering back from the other side, saying, "Turn around quick, his lips are moving."
You see that, Mom? You kill someone, you end up being a Rose story.
All right. So, yeah, that's 8 Rose Nyland stories. More specifically, St. Olaf stories. I used to love those little breaks. My favorite 2 characters from Golden Girls was a toss-up between Rose and well, actually, probably more Dorothy than anyone else. Just because, Dorothy being the no-nonsense one of the group, aside from her mother, of course. But yeah, just I still love watching that show. I mean, I kind of grew up on that show. It was a huge hit when I was growing up, and when I can actually catch it on the air, I still try to watch it. Anyway, going on from that, now we're going into my other favorite Betty White character, and that's Elka. So means time to go from down in Florida up to Cleveland, and here we go.
How do I look?
Like you stepped out of a painting of hookers.
I have a major announcement. My sister Bess just told me Canoga Falls is naming the town square after me.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, did Canoga Falls lose a bet or something?
Are you a Star Trek fan?
I've actually never seen a Star Trek movie.
Well, we're going to change that tonight. I'm going to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Unlikely.
Oh, boy. If this furniture could talk, huh?
It would be a welcome relief.
Now, all over show business, Victoria Chase is known as a difficult actress.
To watch?
I dreamed that he'd ask me to prom. I knew he would see past my acne and back brace and lazy boob.
Lazy boob?
One boob was slower to grow.
Joy has 2 of those.
I need investors for my first production. In the theater, we call them angels.
In real life, they call them suckers.
It says here that it takes an average of 22 months for a woman over 40 to get pregnant.
Is that counting the 18 months it'll take you to find somebody willing to go there?
Movie.
Is it the Lion King?
Yes!
Is it the lion? Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Not in this case.
Yay! Happy family. Let's have tiny cake.
What flavor is it?
The flavor is far out vanilla. Oh my God, look at this. Best before 1986.
So were you.
I call to order the first meeting of Project Oscar. Now, the Academy Award ballots are being mailed out this week, and I am determined to be nominated. So, first order of business.
Get a time machine and give a better performance?
Why did every bird in that bloody show pick me to crap on?
I don't think we should question the wisdom of the animals.
Craig Olson at the senior center is turning 100. Elke and I are doing a roast.
A roast? At that age, are you sure it isn't a cremation? So what do you have so far?
I'm not saying Craig has an enlarged prostate, but if he put a hat on it, he could drive in the carpool lane. Boom!
I look at pictures of myself in my 20s when I obsessed over every little flaw and I just want to shake that girl and tell her to relax and enjoy it.
I look at pictures of me in my 70s and I think that.
Well, that gives me hope.
It shouldn't. I started out prettier than you.
Has anyone seen my car keys? I'm running late for a manicurist appointment.
Question. Do they charge you extra for those big man hands?
Reverend Lair said he was very pleased with the way the work is going.
Oh, that old pulpit pounder doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. What I actually said was, ask anyone. He's the holiest man around.
Uh-huh.
Well, this date has to go perfectly so I can live out my high school fantasy.
Not graduating in a maternity dress?
Seriously, Mother? Little bastard?
It's still better than Wilbur.
Have you two done any more research into your less interesting heritage?
We contacted an historian who's an expert on the area we're from in Poland. Pretty sure he'll disprove our connection.
But it's science.
Toothbrush science. Who trusts a toothbrush?
She's British. We can't even prove she used it.
My agent says that doing a student film is a brilliant move. Now, BuzzFeed is calling me hip and edgy.
If your hips were any edgier, they'd cut through your pants.
I wish I had that kind of confidence with men.
Just copy everything she does.
I don't think I could pull off that skirt.
Many have.
Put on a show and see where this old cow trail takes us.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get my Stetson and my cowboy dance belt.
What the hell?
If he starts acting, then he'll start voting for the Oscars again.
But actors are so self-centered and obnoxious.
You do realize that I'm an actor.
The only one I know.
Hey, everybody. Our group birthday is coming up, and I know exactly who I want to be fixed up with. I met a man this year who touched me deeply.
That could be half of Cleveland.
What's Irish and stays outside? Patty O'Furniture. Oh, that stupid cricket. How come it only chirps when I tell a joke?
Something's got to fill the dead air. Now, I've saved the last for last. Do I hear a quarter?
How did it go at the Latino festival?
Oh, great. They're all going to vote for me.
Because you lied to them, like you lied to everyone. She promised them she'd make Spanish the official language of Cleveland.
Campaign promises. They're like Jewish dates. They do the deed and then they disappear.
Well, this place makes me very nervous. I mean, what if the cops come and bust us?
We'll hide this stuff in our cleavage. Oh, sorry, Joy.
Hey, guys, guess what? I have a date with my gynecologist.
They're called appointments, dear.
I needed cheering up. Something kind of big happened today.
What?
She had sex with a stranger.
How much did you pay him?
You know, when you go out with straight men, you have to create the illusion that you're not wearing any makeup. But for a gay club, you can just slap it on with a trowel.
They are going to go crazy for us. We are so not going to get laid tonight.
You three look ridiculous.
I better get back out there and make the biggest decision of my life.
Joy, choose a good one. You deserve it.
Okay, I'm waiting. Where's the insult? I've got no boobs, I'm old, I'm skanky.
I'm saving those for your wedding toast.
All right, so there it is. This little compilation tribute to the late great Betty White, America's grandmother, national treasure. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. Tell me what your favorite Betty White moment is. And of course, as always, be sure to click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like and share. And if my USBs could quit disconnecting and reconnecting themselves while I'm in the middle of doing stuff, that would be great. In the meantime, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Reacts. And until then, we'll catch you next time. Keep it tight.